Call this meeting order at 5 after 3. Councilman Buzzard, would you mind blessing the meeting?
Dear Heavenly Father, as we gather here today to conduct the business of the Cherokee Nation, we ask that you keep your hand upon us to serve our people, to make the right decisions for our people. We also ask you to bless our troops that serve our country. Bless the troops that are here in country and our troops that are serving overseas. Thank you for the rain. Thank you for the sunshine that we had. We ask that everybody that traveled here today have safe travels home. And we ask all of this in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Councilman. Michelle, you want to roll call for us?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
David Walking-Stick. John Garvin. Bill England. Keith Austin. Jack Baker. Harley Buzzard. Joe Bird.
Honey.
Sean Crittenden.
Honey.
Targus.
Present.
Wanda Hatfield. Rex Jordan. Dick Lay.
Honey.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
Janice Taylor. Here. David Thornton.
Honey.
Victoria Vesquez.
Honey.
Brian Warner.
Honey.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Shelley. I'd like to hear a motion to approve the minutes of April 10th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Move second. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Down in reports, we got our Miss Strawberry Princess, Miss Diane Kelly, from Talking Lead Job Corps, Career Service, and Vocational Education.
I'm far from a princess, I can tell you that.
Just Miss Cherokee.
Oh, let's see here. Okay, Talking Leaves Job Corps. They're still flying high. They are one of 5 in the region that is in the 100% top rating because they have kept the center full and their performance rating is still up there. They are having weekly phone calls with the regional office and the regional director. If you're not in the percentile, he says, I will visit with you after the phone call. So far, they haven't had to do that. And Jay is crunching them numbers every week before that phone call so he can make sure that they've got the right numbers and that they've got the number of files. He's got everybody out recruiting. They were at the Stillwell Strawberry Festival recruiting, and they've been to a lot of the community meetings, and we're doing a lot of outreach. So if you know of anybody that's 16 to 24 years of age that would like to get a vocation, send them our way because we can sure use them over at Job Corps. We had a welding graduation last Thursday, and according to Mr. Daugherty, most all those graduates have already got jobs with the union halls. And we're also working with pipe fitters to start the training. They're sending us the posters so that we can start recruiting for that. Health, George reported that they had several nursing graduations here in the last several weeks, and he attended several of the graduations, so we've got some up-and-coming RNs coming out of our training program that will actually be looking for jobs. We are also working with Oklahoma University Economic Development. There's several of us in our department that are working on those economic development certifications. And we're waiting on one thing, and then we think that we'll be moving our location where the Terrell office is. We're going to be moving to where the housing rehab office was, which is that round building. There are about 3 buildings behind that we can actually move our other programs back there, which would be our fire trucks, our buildings trades program, and some of our apprenticeship. And then we're going to use it also for outreach for our Job Corps recruitment because we're located right behind the motel. And it's not a really good place for trying to attract kids, so we thought we could probably get the billboards that are right up there by where the round-shaped building is with an arrow pointing right to that building, so we think that that will help us with recruitment. So we're going to be moving here in the next few weeks, thanks to Taylor and Bruce and his team. Extremely busy this month. Brenda said to remind you that we have a KNAR meeting, and for those of you that don't know what that is, that's the Voc Rehab. They're having a regional meeting, which will be at the Hard Rock in June. If you're interested about vocational rehabilitation, we'll be sending flyers out about that. So she said just remind you about it. If you're interested in going, it'll be at the Hard Rock. Questions?
Any questions from Miss Diane Kelly? How was the parade?
Oh, excellent. Beautiful day for a parade. We had a good turnout for all the other events that went on throughout town. And I want to say a special thank you to Frankie and Sean for purchasing this big plaque that we needed for all school reunion. It was a hit.
Was it?
And
Nice.
our band was a hit. They were singing old songs, and we even had some of those old women back there dancing at the reunion, so it was a hit.
Really?
Appreciate Wanda. She helped also because she's a graduate of Stillwell Schools, and she helped decorate because she's tall and I'm short, so I couldn't hit the top
Was
with a
this a
brick.
certain class reunion or was it all class reunion?
Anybody that goes to school at Stillwell, it's a big event for all
Okay.
of us.
Is
Doesn't
that-
matter when you graduated, it's a big event,
Is that
either at the
annual?
rodeo, the powwow, or you're having a
Is that
reunion
annual?
somewhere throughout town. It's just a big event that day.
That's
Steve,
awesome.
we might let you come sometime.
I told him if he's ever had Indian taco, he's welcome.
Yeah. There was Indian tacos.
Oh. Well, that's good. The Bell Powwow, did you guys participate in that any or?
We were at the all-school reunion.
Also, oh, is that same? Okay, gotcha.
And I think some of it was at the rodeo.
That is a really neat event you guys do down there, and I'm glad the powwow's getting tied in with it, and the rodeo and everything else. So it's a big thing for Stillwell.
Everything that's done there that day is all volunteers. It is not people actually going out and us having a contract with someone to get paid.
Yeah.
It's everybody taking and doing this and doing that. It's just
That's pretty cool.
you either love it or you don't.
Yeah. Well, any other questions for Diane? Yes, Councilman Critton.
No, Diane's always thanking folks and everything, but, been neighbors all my life. I'm always, for what it's worth, I'm always proud of you.
Well, thank
And,
you.
I see you everywhere, putting on those things, giving a lot of your time, so I'm proud of you.
Oh, I like Peavine, and I
I know
like
you do.
Stillwell, and I like Adair County, but I love Cherokee Nation too.
That's it. Thanks, Diane. Appreciate
Thank
you. Next, the Executive Director's Report. Education, Mr. Ron Etheridge and Jennifer Pigeon.
Good afternoon. We're gonna start out, I got 3 or 4 things, and Jennifer may have a couple things. We hadn't had a chance to talk today, to be honest. She's been busy, and I've been busy doing something different. So, gonna come out to some of your neighborhoods here next week with this Title VI ESSA, which is new this year, and we'll start next Tuesday or next Monday at Salisaw. All the schools in the southern area have been sent an invitation. So hopefully, they're going to make one of the 4 meetings. If they don't make one of the 4 meetings and we don't sign off on it, then they're going to be looking us up because the way it is right now, I mean, that's the way the federal government wants it done. So the state has provided a document for us on page 37. All the local districts have one. And there's only one Title VI group that's going to actually hold a meeting while we have these, and that's Locust Grove. And they're going to hold theirs at Pryor on Thursday evening. Second meeting we have is next Tuesday at Tahlequah at 2 in the afternoon. The third meeting is on a Thursday, and that will be at Little Kansas on Thursday morning, 10:30 next Thursday, and then the final meeting will be at Pryor next Thursday evening. And like I said, the local districts have been invited to come and have their meeting right there. But in most cases, they're already going to have their meeting. They're going to bring us the agenda and the minutes. And then we have questions for them. They have questions for us. We'll sign off on the documents, and then they'll be allowed to go ahead and send them in. So, like I said, that's new this year.
Ron,
And,
is that all the schools need to bring? Is the agenda in the minutes?
agenda and the minutes, and then you need to bring your document, your signed document on that page 37 of that book that State Department's put out. Need to bring that. Camps.
Hey, Councilman Bud.
Yes, I'm sorry. Harlan.
Title VI, give me a little overview of that.
Okay. I just tell you the way it was explained to me just a little bit. old Mitch McGee, and you guys are familiar with Mitch. He runs the Indian Ed program for Tulsa Public. And, we contribute in some cases with tag money. They're Tulsa Public. The Creeks contribute, JOM. And he told me, he said he couldn't make it without this Title VI funding, which is $182 per student, is what they get from the federal government. And David's very familiar with it, being the director there at Muskogee. So anyway, the reason we're attached to it is they want to make sure that these local districts are basically spending their money on their students that qualify. And so as long as they're in compliance, there's not going to be any issues. And so that's all we're there for, is to make sure that they're in compliance and they're spending the money the way they're allowed to spend the money. So anyway, that's why we were brought into the fold to begin with. Oh, is that answer it, Harley? Okay. Camps, right around the corner. In fact, May 30th, we'll start them off through June the 2nd. We've got, say that can't be correct, can it? Anyway, I got this email from but our first camps are RSU, Dwight Mission, and No Water. And then the following week, we have camps at camp at Kansas. And I know Harley, I was part of that email that you were attached to it. Kansas, what happened there is Westfield's transporting, bringing a bus there, so it moved their numbers up. Jay's numbers are not big enough to really merit one. And so we're combining the two. We're going to bus those students from Jay to Kansas, and they'll be able to be a part of it. A bigger encampment is going to be a whole lot better. We'll have more support there as far as our counselors and things like that's concerned, more activities because we got a bigger camp. That's what it amounts to. And then a little bit later, and we got some big numbers in some of these other camps. There at Rogers State, there's 112. At Dwight Missions, right now, there's 77 enrolled. At Briggs, later, on the 27th through the 30th, there's over 200 enrolled in that. And they're expecting as many as 300. And in the overnight camp at Welling, we have enrolled right now right at 120 some odd, but there's still some time left to enroll. So, any questions on the camps? It's coming up.
Yes, Councilman.
Yes, sir. Could you back up to NOWADA and tell us what's the date for that and how many people have enrolled?
Okay, no water?
That was that first batch. You started out with.
Okay. RSU is 112. We've got an issue there really at no water. I mean, there's not that many. I mean, there's 27, but it's the only camp, in the area. Okay, and it may be something we have to look at next year. If we can't increase the numbers there, because they know we have it every year, and they know what we provide. I mean, it's free. And so, we need to try to increase the numbers if we can. Dick, you want to talk about it?
Yes, Councilman, I'd like to do it.
Thank you. You saw me waving my.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you, Ron. Appreciate it. Well, some of the problem is for NOWADA would like to bus from Washington County, Bartlesville, Copan, Dewey, Caney Valley, and also busing over from Veneta, Big Cabin over in that area.
Okay.
And what we've had is sometimes these schools themselves can't provide the driver, and they wonder about the liability for the bus hauling kids around. I think we could increase that quite a bit. And we talked about it last year. We talk about it every year, but nothing ever really happens on the busing. And I'll just throw that to you to try to help.
I'll tell you what we'll do, and I guess I slept last year whenever we was talking about it, and I apologize for that. But what we will do is, it's too late to do anything for me to do anything about this year, but I'll work on it next year. I mean, we'll get out there and we'll meet with those superintendents and we'll tell them what we're providing, and we'll just see how they can help us. And as far as transportation, we will pay that. You know, that's the thing about it. To get them to use their buses, to get the kids there. We're paying Westville to get on their, or to load their kids up on their bus and take them to Kansas, Oklahoma. We're gonna pay Jay to use their bus to come down there. Now, maybe that hadn't been communicated to those people up there. I don't know.
Well, it has not, because I should have been in that loop, and I wasn't.
Yeah,
If somebody was volunteering the bus service, we never heard it.
yeah, okay.
I guess is what I'm saying.
I need to find out, and I will.
Is it too late, you're saying now?
Well, I think the enrollment period is behind us, you know, as far as that's concerned. I mean, I think, and that's something I just have to check with Mark on. But, I mean,
Well, I mean, Mark and I and Todd Hembry last several months ago talked about the busing. And they said they were gonna work it out. And so, we miscommunicated somewhere.
okay,
Todd said we could waive, you know, get the buses. I don't know what he said. He's a lawyer. He's got the lawyer speak going, but we could work it out, he said. And Mark was there, and he said, yeah, we can take care of that.
Good.
So here, one more year, we did not.
right,
And so I'm a little frustrated.
yeah, I understand.
And not only my kids, but Victoria's kids, and kids in 3 or 4 communities who have, in the past at least, had said they'd like to go, but we can't get there. Our folks are working, or they're disabled, or I'm staying with grandma this summer. There's all kinds of things.
Right, okay, okay. Well, I'll find out, and I'll see if something could possibly be done about this year. And if it can't, we'll be straightforward with you. If it can, we're gonna let you know that as well, but we're gonna go to work on it for next year for sure, I can assure you.
Councilman Lay, what schools are you referring to that need transportation to this camp?
Well, and we discussed a couple of years ago, and we discuss it every year, from Bonita to come over to Nowhere.
Okay.
We discussed Bartlesville, Copan, Dewey, Caney Valley, to go to No Water.
Okay.
And there are Indian kids in all of those communities. And I don't know how many would be there, but something we just keep missing the car. The gear is not shifting good.
Yeah.
In the transmission, we miss a shift every year.
Yeah.
And I thought we had it lined out this year, and apparently we missed the
I'm gonna
shift.
give Mark Vance, which you guys will do, and then ask him to get with those JOM coordinators up there at those schools and see if there's some funding in those JOM.
I will do that. Bottom line, it should stop with me though, and I apologize for that, and, I mean, I'll make sure. I mean, we're gonna work on it. Yes, Victoria, I'm
Okay, I
sorry.
would have South Coffeyville School and Union probably,
Yeah.
because Union's got a JOM group.
Okay,
And if you
just right down
could,
the
if you
road.
set up something, if you could at least let us know before we have time to do something, like maybe December, have another meeting. Bring it up again and let's talk about it, make sure it doesn't, that we can do that next year.
okay, okay.
Thanks.
That's wrong, it's Mark Vance.
That's how we get it worked out. That's
Councilman Anglin?
Yeah, thank you.
Go ahead.
Well, while we're on the old bandwagon, let's bus them over from Skytook, Sperry, and Collinsville, Owassa over to RSU.
Yeah.
I mean, same distance,
Once again,
and we do have kids over there that can do RSU.
yeah, okay, okay.
You know, like I said, these JOM programs in these schools have money that the BIA and the tribe gives them, and yeah, and it's for cultural activities such as that. But you can't force the hands of their JOM parent committees, because they have their own committees how they allocate those dollars. But we can recommend or ask or suggest, hey, can you supply some funding for our kids to get over to this cultural camp? But so that's kind of what you're up against, and I guess Ron's going to inform those superintendents. Say, hey, would you please ask your JOM coordinators if they could find some funding to come to our camp coming up?
And that's another thing, when we meet next week, and we're gonna have to meet again in the fall.
Yeah.
Because not only are we signing off on this Title VI, we're gonna be required to sign off on these other title programs as well. That will happen in the fall, okay? So we'll meet and we'll talk about it next week, and we can also bring it up again in the fall. and where we're hitting them, multiple times, and where they won't forget.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions on that? Remember the removal, 2 weeks from tomorrow, 9 o'clock in the morning, right out here, Bruce assured me it's gonna be ready, in the veranda area. We're gonna have our send-off right there. And, got to participate in that last year. Got to listen to Jack give some history, and totally enjoyed it. Learned so much. I'm one I don't retain real well. I need to go back and get another dose, and so, but I'm not going to go to the first part of it. I'm going to go to the second part of it this time. So anyway, we do have people, and it's a team effort. I mean, we have the Marshal Service, IMSA, the communications, and in education that goes and is a part of this. And of course, they were in the parade Saturday over at Stillwell, and it's like you had to kind of hold them back. They had a car out there in front of them that wouldn't move, and they had to just, almost put their feet on the ground to pedal. But and they rode over there, and then they rode back. And then yesterday, they went 70 miles. Simply, they have to test out. If they can't make 70, they don't get to go. And so, anyway, I know you're in support of them. And anyway, it's a big thing coming up. And of course, they'll return the 22nd of June, and we'll have a big assembly for that as well. So just letting you know. And I do want to comment on Dr. Sly, and because she's done this every year, since it's been assigned to her. I want to commend her for the job that she's done on getting a $25,000 grant from the Parks and Recreation. We spend some nights in those parks. Spent a night last year, first time my wife and I in years have spent a night in a tent, but anyway, we got to join and be a part of that, and it was a fun thing. And that was in Tennessee, but anyway, that's coming up. The last thing, and then I'm going to turn it over to Jennifer here if she's got anything, is remember the deadline of June the 15th. And this year, there's no way they can miss it, because I'm telling you, it's in bold print.
It's midnight, right?
And it's Central Standard Time.
Central Standard Midnight.
And if they miss it, I'm telling you, we just have to be the bad people. Say, I'm sorry. I've got a grandson that I've told my daughter. I said, he's getting ready to cause great friction among our household if he don't have it in on time, because I've got to be the one that says, hey, you can't have the $2,000 scholarship if that's what we're able to give. So anyway, that's I wanted to say that. Jennifer, you got anything that you want to add here? Or you got any questions for Jennifer or I?
Hello.
Chair?
Yes, sorry, Councilman Buzzard.
Yeah. Ron, has there been a policy change on concurrent enrollment? I just got a notification that this child had enrolled for 9 hours, but now they're only going to pay for 6 hours, and this parent had like a $650 bill they got to pay. And they were under the impression that we were paying for 9 hours, and that's I was too. Now the school is telling them, they're only going to be paid for 6 hours. Was there a policy change on hours?
Councilman, out a letter.
Hey, Councilman Buzzard.
Yeah.
The current enrollment, the Oklahoma, correct me if I'm wrong, Councilman Warner, the Oklahoma Higher Regents pays a maximum up to 6 hours for a student to attend a higher education institute. And as Cherokee Nation, we paid a maximum up to 6 hours for those fees. So the Higher Regents pays for the tuition up to 6 hours. The Cherokee Nation pays for the tuition fees. And so, but the extra 3 hours that student take, that was up to that's coming out of his own pocket, because the Higher Regents doesn't even pay for it.
Okay, so it wasn't 9 hours, and we paid
6 hours.
Yeah, 6 hours is the maximum that they'll cover.
Okay, well, I got this.
And Counselor, I had the same issue over the weekend,
Okay.
but this student went to Northeastern,
Yeah, that's the same one.
enrolled in 9 hours, and I said, I think we can only pay for 6. He's been left holding the bag. No, he can't get his transcript. He can't get any of that information. I said, well, you're gonna have to ante up because that's just the way it works.
I guess, I don't know how they got to be.
I know, I hate to give them the bad news, but, that's our policy.
Yeah. Yes, Councilman Creighton?
I had that question tomorrow at rules. You know, there's an act here where 9 hours is marked out, and then it's changed to 6. So it did change at a particular time, or is that what that act's trying to change?
This semester, due to the increased number of students that we had, we did have to limit at 6 hours. And so
That's not your fault. You've been really helpful, but man, I hate to. I mean, education. That stood out to me going over this, marking that 9 out, and putting 6, and I know it's a funding thing, but probably nobody here or any of the students likes it, but that's what you were talking about, right, Harlan?
Well, yeah, it just puts some people in a bind, you know, when they think they're gonna get paid for the 9 hours and they're wind up with a $650 bill, you know, that's not.
So that's just now trying to pass tomorrow in this act, so it has changed.
yeah, due to, the number that we had this semester, we had to limit it to 6. And then so going forward, it would be advertised as 6 if everything passes tomorrow.
So what happens prior to tomorrow then?
Well, right now, we're kind of just not really have a number out there. They're just applying for concurrent enrollment, not quite knowing if it's 3, 6, 9, 12.
What would be a figure on the money that you would need to keep it that way?
To keep it as is, my guess would be our budget would be over $500,000.
To keep it as is? And it has been that in the past?
Yeah.
We just got more. We've just got more.
Yeah, you'll
500?
see a budget mod before you, I believe tomorrow or next month.
500,000. All right, well, I had another question, can't think of it right now, but thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Councilman
I
Warner?
think it's always helpful to note that in a lot of those cases, and too, I mean, it's all about the advertising and everything and the way you read it. But when I hear it here a lot of times too, it's as we have that funding, because I hear you can get that up to $2,000. So if we have all of these students, we may have a year where they only get $1,500 or $1,800 on the undergraduate scholarship. So, and a lot of the schools though that are out there, like where we're at, they've got I tell my students, now look, this is $2,000 scholarship. They've never not awarded all of this, but there's that chance that something happens and that we only get to give you $1,000 for that semester. And I think that's in there. I don't know if that helps, but we often, I know I tell my students,
Contingent on funding.
Contingent on
Contingency
funding.
upon funding.
I'm good.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, Councilwoman
I
Tack?
think another thing with the concurrent that people may not be aware of, the state pays the tuition. We have always paid to pick up the additional fees, and those fees have increased a lot in the last year.
Well, I'll
Yes,
speak on
Councilman
that.
Creighton.
Totally. I mean, I look at all the institutions across the board, mine included. We're bound by the same things that the public schools are bound by in these budget constraints and all that stuff. Some people choose to do things different. They either raise tuition or they raise the fees. It's like City of Sallisaw owns their own electric company. When the GRDA raises those fees, the City of Sallisaw doesn't eat those fees. The consumer pays for those. You know what I mean? It's just, it's a lot of, I think that's just part of growing up and learning. It's that balance. So, but I know too, one thing that people need to realize too, on the level, the state says they pay that tuition and fees. They pay about 20%. The college pays about 80% of that concurrent money as the way the formula is right now. So that's concurrent enrollment is a good thing, but it's a double-edged sword as well on the institution. But we look at it as, hey, we want to educate our people and we want to you know, look at it as it's a recruitment tool. But a lot of our people that go to our concurrent, we don't get those students. They go on to OSU or OU or Northeastern or somewhere like that. So I said, I'm not going to complain about it. I'm going to step up our game, and we're going to recruit. We're going to do different things. So, thank you.
It's Councilman Bud.
Back to the original thought of it, apparently Ron Education sent a letter out when this all started that we were going to pay 9 hours, from what I understand. Is that correct? Am I saying
Yes,
that
the original
correct?
application said up to 9 hours.
Up to 9 hours.
And then whenever, you know, we got all the applications in, looked at the budget, then we sent out letters saying it was limited to 6.
Oh, there's another follow-up letter.
Right.
So you did send a follow-up letter saying that
Exactly.
things be cut back.
Now, were those fees, we'll pay up to 9 hours of tuition fees?
6, yeah.
Tuition fees, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Tuition, books, and fees.
So you did send a letter out saying that was going to be 6? Okay. All right.
Fair enough.
Well, there's going to be more discussion on the rules tomorrow on over this Concurrent Enrollment Act. So if you guys get a chance to look over it, and I got a few concerns about it myself, but we'll talk about it in the rules tomorrow. So, any other questions for Ron?
One more comment.
Yes.
We'll probably have to address funding valedictorians and salutatorians, because we give checks
Yes.
to those. The schools have gotten very creative, knowing that we fund the valedictorians, and now it's not unusual to have just not co-valedictorians, but a half a dozen valedictorians. That wasn't the intent of our policy.
Well, my son-in-law's assistant principal at Claremore, and they had 8, which is the most that we have. And I called him. I said, Jarrett, how many valedictorians do you have? He said, 37. I said, okay, thank you. And that's, another district that had 7. A small district here in Cherokee County had 6.
Keys.
So, right, it's just what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to give it, why not? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that's.
So if we give it, they'll just have to split it among themselves, and we still get the same amount. It's like every fall, there's a rating that come out in the college football. You're either number 1 or you're number 2.
That's what I'll.
Thought I'd throw that in. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. I don't think over at Muskogee, I don't think they're focusing on Cherokee Nation. I think it's more or less the community that the school's involved with. Is that there's a lot of passionate parents that think that their kid worked hard and got a 4.0 and deserved that title, and it's more or less to appease parents than get Cherokee Nation money. That's how I foresee it. But regardless, it's costly to us, and so yeah, we do need to find another avenue on how to take care of those kids, those that have worked hard. Maybe find some other ways to give them incentive, wherever it is. So, anyways, any other questions for Ron or Jennifer? Yes, Councilman Creighton.
No, give me that, if you would, that concurrent deadline, August.
August the 10th.
That's what my buddy said.
Okay. Okay. All right, thank you, Ron. Thank you, Jennifer.
I believe it.
Councilman Warner, he says, that tracks on my back, or do you just throw me underneath the bus?
I had him check it. I said,
Okay.
check it again.
Okay, now down to Head Start, Ms. Vernon. Yes, Jody?
I was just going to mention that the budget for the concurrent enrollment, it got moved up to tonight's council
Okay.
budget mod. That's in that new packet. That's one of the items in
So
there.
it's going from 300 to
300
500?
to 387.
300 to 387.
Yeah.
Where's the 500 that you was referring
Well,
to?
that would be if they paid for
Okay, that's it.
9
You pay for
hours.
9. Gotcha. All right. Thank you, Jody. All right. Next, Head Start, Ms. Vernon Thompson. We got some cupcakes coming around. They're strawberry cupcakes.
brought company this afternoon, and they are the go-to people for enrollment. And the drop-dead date for full enrollment with 680 and Head Start and 200 in early Head Start is when?
I know him, he graduated a long time ago at Head Start.
Yeah, it's been a while since I graduated. The drop dead date for full enrollment is Monday, August the 7th.
So they're in full swing right now trying to recruit that many children. And I just wanted to let you all know that while you all are asking questions about higher ed, the really point of entry for your scholarships is at age 6 weeks. And in your packet, you'll see that Early Head Start gets a scholarship, and if they go all 3 years, you fund them $39,129 by the time they're 6 weeks old and they age out of Early Head Start. And if they are fortunate enough to be screened and be allowed to enroll in Head Start, then you give them another scholarship of $14,565 for 2 more years. So think about it in those terms. You all really award scholarships that early on at 6 weeks old, and they do have lesson plans at that age. So I wanted to share that with you. But also in the packet, Chad, if you want to go over this sheet right here, that gives you all kinds of information.
Okay, on the first page, we have a district breakdown for all the centers that are located in your specific districts. Also with the funded enrollment that goes along with your district areas. Also the total cost per district for all the students in your area.
We get calls quite often from public schools asking if we can partner with them for a Head Start program. We would love to. In fact, we go ahead and do a courtesy visit and look at their facilities in hopes that maybe someday down the road that we can, if something happens to an existing partnership. But right now we are fully enrolled, and every slot is taken to all of the districts that are right there on your list. Partnering with the public schools really gets more mileage out of their money and ours, and it just creates a great partnership altogether. Any other information, Chad?
I just wanted to share some of the enrollment about the application itself. Whenever we have an application turned in, there's some specific information we have to have with it, including the incomes, a birth record, immunization record, tribal membership card, and a child's social if they have it. On the income, if they turn in a check stub, it has to be dated for the month previous of the application. So if they turn an application in for May, we would need a check stub dated for April or before. Also, right now we are in the process of filling slots with our under income applications. Hopefully by mid to late July, we'll kind of know where we're at, and if we have slots available, then we might be able to put in some of the over income applications, just depending on what the under income load is.
When the federal review team comes and they look at all of our enrollment information as far as income verifications, if we show that we have 30 to 40% over income, we have to justify that by saying we exhausted every reasonable effort to enroll under income. So we do enroll over income, but as a last resort. And usually we enroll 4-year-olds, so they'll be in there 1 year, and then next year we can start over again. I know you all get those kinds of questions about, can I get in?
So what's usually the norm for over income?
It's in your packet, and they're very, very low. It'll blow you away how low they are. Give them an example.
Less than 5%?
Oh, my.
It's roughly about 7%.
That's not
bad. On the poverty guidelines for a family of 4, the guidelines are 24,600. So they're very low when it comes to who can count as under income.
But I hope this packet, and thank these folks, they are the contact people for enrollment, and they're the first people you see. In fact, we call them directors of first impressions up there at the early childhood unit, because they are, and I get more compliments on whoever that is up front. They are so nice, and they are.
Yes, Councilman Budger?
You probably explained this, and I wasn't paying attention. Amongst, we got early Head Start enrollment, got the numbers down.
Uh-huh.
What's high school, what's that?
Head Start.
Head Start, okay.
Uh-huh.
I was thinking high school.
I know. That happens all the time.
Okay, all right, Head Start, okay, I'm with you now.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Any other questions, Ms. Verna?
Keep up the
Saying
good
none?
report.
Yep.
Councilman Jordan's got a big load there with. in
And
District
we
1.
appreciate this mouth spray too. This is good stuff.
Oh,
No, I was kidding. It's hand sanitizer.
At first
It's
he
FYI.
thought it was deodorant. I said, no, it's mouth spray. So he tried the mouth. I said, well, it's actually for your hands.
Yeah. We want to
And
use
you
it
know
for
what?
hairspray.
I'm sorry, I made the assumption everybody knows him because everybody compliments him all the time. But this is Chad Cochran and Joseph McClure and Mary Lee Carey. So just
All
wanted
right.
to-
Thank you guys. See. So, no. Next down, Superintendent of Sequoia Schools, Mr. Leroy Qualls.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see former students. Two of those students were mine back in the day. Joe's played basketball for me, and Mary Lee was A+ driver's ed student. Well, we're winding up our year as far as high school, and everybody, some of you have had graduations in your area already. We had three, actually two last week at Immersion School, last Thursday. We've got the high school graduation this Friday night at 6:30. And, you know, this is the time of the year that I always hope that our young people stay safe. Sometimes we, you know, have incidents or accidents, but that's one thing that I pray for every year about this time, that and prom. We had a representative from the BIE visit our school a few weeks ago, and they did let us know, they were from the Minnesota office, Minneapolis, let us know that we were one of probably the elite BIE school in the country. Didn't elaborate, just they were there visiting with students, faculty members, staff, and teachers, and different individuals. And that was good to hear. But at the same time, we're already prepping to have meetings after our kids are gone. We'll have some back for summer school, which is start the first Monday of June. Try to have a meeting to see what we can do to improve for next year, because I always feel like that there's things that we need to do that we haven't been able to do yet. And always try to prepare for the next year. And that's kind of like coaching a basketball game. I did that for 30 years. You know, whether you win or lose, you always see what you can do to be better the next time you step out on the court. So we're kind of winding down and then preparing at the same time to try to get ready for next year. We finished this school year with 99 freshmen. What the report you got is a list of events, because it's been crazy the last 3 or 4 weeks with immersion and the high school going on. And I'm giving a supplemental report, which I usually do. So we had 99 students in the freshman class that we're ending the school year with, 95 sophomores, 101 juniors. So next year we'll have a real big senior class for us. And this year we had 75 students, 12 of those graduated at midterm with the block scheduling. So all totaled 370 for the school year. We're finishing up with 65 dorm students that live in the dorms. And speaking of the dorms, this year it's been a good year for us as far as working on those dorms, and staff does an incredible job that we have, and the dorms really look good. And at the same time, we'll let you know that we had a flood there about 3 weeks ago. Believe it or not, the water was ankle deep in the hallways of the boys' dorm, where the water collected and went through 3 doors, seeped under 3 doors into the dorms. But looks like that, you know, it turned out okay. They got it dried up as quickly as possible. It's just that you can't get to the inner walls at times, and you never know about things until later on. As far as the athletics are concerned, we had 4 state champions this year. Of course, girls basketball, and we had the state MVP in the tournament. Track, 3,200 relay team, boys won state, and also we had a long jumper that won the state championship. Fast pitch softball were academic state champions. So those are the 4 state champions that we had this year. We had 3 runner-ups. Fast pitch softball, which we watched just a week or so ago, got beat in the semifinals, and then slow pitch got to the semifinals, slow pitch got to the finals and lost, and boys basketball got to the semifinals. They didn't actually get to the runner-up spot, but that was my error, and I just caught it. We had 13 All-State athletes this year, which is 4 more than we had last year, and last year was a banner year for us, so that makes this year a very good year for our kids. Cheer had their first cheerleader that signed to be a college cheerleader next year, and I thought that was pretty neat, because our cheer program's just kind of got up and going in the last 3 years or so, and kids they're doing well. Very proud. Total of 6 signees to compete at the next level next year, and we still have 3 or 4 that we expect to sign that haven't signed yet. So that's a pretty good number. Speech and drama had 2 teams make it to the state. Powerlifting had 5 qualifiers, and overall, our robotics team won the sportsmanship award at the nationals this year. They won state competition. It's been well-rounded. Very proud of what our kids have accomplished this year, and the teachers and sponsors putting in the incredibly hard work, and all the coaches that have done so well. It's make our school what it is. Tomorrow we have physicals at 4:45 for next year's athletes. Also, we got boys basketball camp starting Monday. So here we go again. I talked to the coaches today, and believe it or not, they have a lot of energy and they're excited. I'm excited about our people being ready to go. Girls basketball camp will start on the 30th, which will be a Tuesday through Thursday. And both boys and girls have 1st through 5th grade in the morning, and then they have the 6th through 9th grade in the afternoons. So they try to catch all the kids that want to come to basketball camp. And that's about all I have as far as the supplemental report for today.
Any questions for Mr. Qualls? I had the privilege to go speak to y'all's government class the other day and talk about sovereignty. Anyways, there was a lot of dorm students in there, and I just kind of polled them what would be one thing they'd like to see improved in there, and they said a rec hall. So I don't know if there's some way we could look at maybe getting a rec hall or something on campus again somewhere down the road. But
You used to have one, didn't you?
we used to have one, yeah. So
We had one, and I didn't want it to go away, but when I left, the rec hall left after I did. 'Cause I know that the cost shoots up as for, are you talking about raising a bunch of kids?
yeah,
And if there's nothing for kids to do, sometimes they tend to get in trouble. So, yeah, when I left, I heard that about the next year they dozed it down. I thought that we might have an opportunity this year to put in for a grant, but there was another Cherokee Nation entity that put in for the same grant that
that was competing with that.
Yeah, and we couldn't compete with that, so.
Yeah.
First chance we get, we're going to try to get another rec call.
Let us know if we can help you in any way.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Any other questions? Seeing none, good report, Mr. Qualls.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work. And Friday is graduation, right? So
I would say 6, but it's actually 6:30
okay.
when it starts.
Hey, how many seniors, Coach?
75.
75 seniors.
Next year will be 101.
Yeah. Wow.
But we appreciate all of your support, and I'm excited to be at Sequoia and ready to take on the new challenges that we have.
Thank you. All right, down to old business, seeing none. New business, seeing none. Any announcements? I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carries.